What is going on?
That was catchy. I liked it.
Yeah, what? It's the same one I always play.
I don't pay attention.
Oh, come on, dude. I make those just for you.
Oh,
Like, that's the only reason I do any kind of intros is for Sean.
Damn.
I know.
I liked it, though. So
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So how you guys doing tonight?
Great. How are you?
Beautiful.
I'm doing good. Yeah, John, so the last time we talked to you, you were getting ready to close out Godlike, and you did that in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
That went really, like, how are you feeling about that entire campaign? Like, very, very successful. I was happy for you.
Beautiful. Yeah, because, my initial goal for it was to only raise $100,000. So we did that in the first day. And then we ended up closing 258,800. So yeah, pretty happy. Very happy with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a hell of a campaign, man. Like, that was fun to watch. And I gotta say, you do the 60 days only or 30 days only, like you do, no in demand. I mean, you definitely got to be on 30, it. Yeah. Yep, got to be on it and get that stuff. It's a good model. It works for you. But
it works for me. I don't.
Yeah, I would say it works for you. Yeah.
You guys watch. Shane's going to close somewhere between $240,000, $300,000, and then he's going to go in demand, and he'll probably scrape up another $50,000, $100,000 before he ships. So
right.
For me, I kind of look at what I'm trying to get to, which I am getting to with Graveyard Shift right now, which is to where I can do the production ahead of time. And then we can launch the campaign. And then there's no need for the campaign to be open a year later. You know what I mean? So we'll have everything done in advance, collect the orders, and then be able to ship them, as promptly as possible. So maybe a month or two, that's where we're aiming for next year. And then Godlike, I'd love to get that into a position like that. But for that to happen, I would probably because I don't know if I can work ahead like that, but hiring people out. So maybe there could be another campaign or something like that where we can work ahead. But for my part of the Godlike project, it'll probably always be, I'll have it open for a year,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
man.
There's not much I can do about that. I have to get online, and I have to promote, and I have to be out here doing all these things. And basically, I'd have to take another year off of crowdfunding in order to get a year ahead on Godlike and then working that way. And that's just a really big risk, too. I feel more comfortable with Graveyard Shift because of the track record.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it's cool. You got a lot of stuff in the works, and it's good to see you and Mark. We just had Phil on Odd Stuff last night, and we were just talking to him about hiring out and hiring people on and getting all these books going. It's really cool to see, like, it really starting to form. A lot of talent coming in, people bringing talent. That's cool.
Yeah, if everybody's out there, speaking well of it too, in terms of the creators, if they're getting out there and doing their part of getting out there and promoting themselves on YouTube and social media, then by all means, everything should be growing. And what I'm excited for is, like, I've done the supplemental books. I've done whatever I can to keep bringing more people in and more product for the backers, but more work for the creators too. And then we have Shane, he's right kind of in that same spot now. So, we're going to have two companies out there at least with the potential. And I'm not telling or implying how Shane should run his business, but if he's doing supplemental books and whatnot, now we have the potential for even more jobs out there. So it's great that we have two strong creators out there that are just kind of going out there and hiring up as many people as they can and making more and more content. Specifically for me, it's comic book content. That's what I love. I love the books. So I want to make as much as those as possible. But bright days are definitely ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's nice to see everything growing the way it is. It's very cool. Let's say hi to the chat. We got Lord Crackhead. Jeremy, what's going on? Crazy Mad. We got B Rose in the chat. What's going on, B Rose? Chauncey. My man. Man, how's it going? Noah's in here, spreading his youthful charm as usual. Drew G, what's going on, brother? We got I'm gonna mess this up. Just hold on a second. Linkovic Chimov. Hey, I had to fuck that up. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can't read, but thank you.
Chomofsky.
Yes, thank you. Oh man, it's sometimes it's
Sorry,
brutal.
I had my mic muted because my printer was shutting down.
What's up,
Hello,
Leandro? All right, so I think we got caught up there with everybody. All right, guys, we really appreciate you joining us. This is appreciating comic book art live. This is a almost a second parter, I'd say. Last time we did this, we did Todd McFarlane, but we looked at his Spider-Man run throughout. We didn't look at every single issue, but we looked at a lot of his darker take on Spider-Man, which is really cool. But I was looking forward to getting to looking at Spawn, because this was really these. We're going to look at 1 through 4. I think we're going to do 8. And then I've got a specialty book that I want to check out. But these were books that really inspired me a lot as a kid. And I know we say this every show, but that's what the show is for. I mean, like everything I bring up here is going to be stuff that inspired me. And what an era it was to be inspired in. But the start of Image, the launch of Image, the energy and the fun aspect of these books, it's just something I can't wait to share with everybody. If you haven't checked it out, or if it's just going to bring back some memories. So we're going to dive into this, and it's going to be really, really fun. Snake Dog, you got American Comics Co. What's going on? Crypto Ken. Good. Thank you for joining us, guys. Really appreciate it. Oh, and before I start, real quick, so I launched my Reaper Destroyer Ashcan last Friday, and it's kind of like what Sean did, which is if you want it, DM me. I'll give you my PayPal, or give me your PayPal information. I'll give you my PayPal information. $20 shipped. That's it. And then I'm gonna try to get it out for Christmas, but it's going pretty well. I've already sold almost 60 copies so far. So
that's awesome. You trumped me. You kicked me in the pond. You're like, here, fat kid. That's great.
Yeah, well, it's cool. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's back so far. And it's going to be available until I think the second week in November is when I'm closed. I think the 19th or something. I got to look at the date again.
Where are people backing this at?
Sliding his DMs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Why don't you guys just do Indiegogo? Like,
okay, so here's the idea. Here's the idea behind the Ashcan and not Indiegogo aspect. Is when I do the Indiegogo, same thing with Sean. We want to save it for the actual campaign of the book. It didn't make sense to me to do an Indiegogo just for an Ashcan for some odd reason. Like it's just
for what should have been like a convention thing,
right?
Like what you guys did with Graveyard Shift back in the day, like a tchotchke.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. The whole idea behind it was just like real easy because these things are pretty much ready to go. I just gotta get them put together, which is why I think I can get them out in time for Christmas. And it's basically get a hold of me if you want it. PayPal information, address. I'll put it on the list, reserve it, and as soon as we get it, we're gonna ship it out. So it seemed more efficient to do it that way. Although I will say that
it worked out.
It's worked out, but I've had a lot of people ask, about like links and stuff to campaigns. So it's a different business model. We're trying it out. Some people really dig it. Other people are like, I wish it was on Indiegogo, but we'll figure it out. What's going on, Eric? Good to see you. All right, guys, I'm going to switch. I'm not going to switch. I'm trying something new today. So I'm setting up, and I was sick and tired of my Logitech camera that was always having trouble focusing. So I'm going to try to go off my iPad here and do this. There we go. So I got a new setup too in the studio. So I'm just trying to get rid of this part of the light. That's just going to have to be there. It is what it is. It won't bother us too much as we get through here. Put this up here. All right.
Spawn 1, was that the second book out the gate? Youngblood was first, right?
Youngblood was first with Rob, and then it was Spawn, and I think was it Wildcats after that came out, or was it Savage Dragon? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure beyond that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like everything right from the get-go, we get full computer gradients on that cover.
Yeah.
And you get that nice image eye. Like that's what I loved, like how they would just inset all their characters in there. Like it would just be it wouldn't be like the head like you would get at like Marvel or maybe DC. I don't know.
I got a bigger version of black and white here. Do you want to wait on that type of shit till later so you don't have to go back and forth?
Yeah, because I've got a black and white version. We'll look at it at the end, so you can bring that up too, and we'll get into that. What's going on, Rick? Good to see you. I don't know if I said that or not. Tatsunami. Good to see you. But yeah, like, so one thing about these first couple issues of Spawn is he did like this kind of painter style with the covers. This
Not
was
airbrush.
it gave it a kind of a different feel, I thought, to it. It just kind of stood out from the other books, but really well done. And yeah, John, like you said, like, there was something about that image. Isn't it interesting that a logo, something simple as an eye, could just be something that was just like exciting to see, you know, because it's not Marvel, it's not DC, it's like this new thing. It's just boom, it's image, though,
new branding. It was
right,
nice
exactly.
And also, like, just to go through the time machine too, in terms of computer color, like Todd pretty much had it going really great right from the beginning. But if you looked at like even Youngblood, even though it would have like the gradients, but it wasn't as sharp. Like it took time for these guys to actually be able to grab hold of the right computer colorist. And like I remember like Youngblood, I don't know, 4, 5, where it started really kind of kicking in. Like and I think, you know, the computer colors. So like they would color them, but it would be that, and we kind of talked about this a little bit on the pit stuff, but it'd just be like it would be that just very light, low contrast. Like they would color everything to white. They didn't know what they're like. White gradient. Look, we got a gradient on here. But other people like Todd had who was it? Olaf? Is that who did these?
Yeah.
And Olaf was like the leading guy for computer coloring. Before this, if I remember, he did Akira, like he was coloring Akira, and that was like a whole new kind of interesting look. I don't remember who published it. I feel like maybe Dark Horse, but I'm not sure. So, anyways, Todd pretty much brought in the one guy who had the best clue on how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say his colors were always really good because of Steve Olaf. Jim Lee brought in that Joe Russis guy. And that Roses, I thought Roses, I thought Wildcats had a good look. But overall, I mean, there was one thing that was impressive about these books is the quality, besides the art, because we all knew the art was going to be great because of the guys that were putting them together. But like the colorists that they brought with and everybody they worked with was just, I mean, these things were just top notch. I mean, even the quality of the books, and we talked about this when we were doing the pit stream, that the paper stock that they use was like a little bit thicker. You know, these books are like sturdy, you know, like they're just a very sturdy book. Pleasing to read.
Right away, we get Todd design. The planet breaking the panel borders and then these little slits of light going through there. Like, he knew when he knew how, like, otherwise it would just be pages or pictures in panels. And that's fine, you know, like from, you know, just a storytelling point of view.
Yeah.
But, you know, he breaks up and gives you something interesting to look at. And I love that. Like he did, like, I remember he did like this one Superman drawing once, and he just put a panel, like it was like a pinup drawing, but he didn't want to draw the whole background. So he puts like a panel behind Superman, and then he just fills it up with space and stars. Like, there you go. There's your background.
Yep.
But it's breaking the panel border, and it gives it a little visual element of interest.
Yeah, I really dig stuff like this. You know, you got the Earth just hanging out here, it's breaking the panel, and then you got the panel itself is broke up with these lines. You know, just like it has this kind of movement to it. You know, pushing you over to this area and then expanding.
And then we get the Todd zoom in, zoom out. You know, that's what else. You know. Like, again, I think we talked about that with the Spider-Man stuff. Like he'd start way back and he'd move in, or he'd start real close and move out. Yeah, you know, these zooms and zoom outs, beautiful.
Yeah, he was I mean, he probably still is. I haven't seen sequentials from him in a while, but he was just a hell of a storyteller.
And look at like really these first 3 pages, even, you know, because I was looking at page 1 and I'm thinking, how long did page 1 take Todd?
Yeah, probably not that long.
Probably took I mean, to have the concept of what he's doing probably actually took longer than to actually do the execution. You know, for him to think up the idea of the planet with the inset panel and zoom outs and all that, and kind of building up that mood like that. that takes time too. But the actual execution on page, you know, he probably drew that page in 3 hours, and this page here as well. He's has half of those structures in complete black, so he only has to draw one side of it. I mean, this is, again, he's really smart about how to save time. The panels below, I mean, they're silhouetted. Again, he's in and out of this page, and this one here probably in 4 or 5 hours, you know, because I was just a fast, you know, a relatively fast guy. And then the follow-up page to that, like, it's the same panel.
Yeah, just copy and paste.
But he puts in a nice bit of text to kind of break it up. And this is, you know, definitely what influenced Graveyard Shift, you know, when we have our little newscasters and you know, and I know this was coming back from even I think some Dark Knight kind of type stuff. But yeah, this is what we were totally riffing on when we do these and still do them in Graveyard Shift is our newspaper or our news channel reporters.
Like you said, it's a good way to get information out, you know, and all that. It is.
Yeah, because especially in Spawn, it's like, you know, you're listening maybe to some inner monologue. You're getting very minimal information out during a time, but you throw these news reporters in, boom, let's build the world up in, you know, 3 or 4 little paragraphs.
Drew G said, I tell you, as a young teen, I skipped all those pages. So much reading. Yeah, there was a lot of pages in early Spawn books I skipped where he did like this gigantic amount.
I read that. Like, I can handle. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you know, like, Todd is not necessarily a word heavy guy, maybe on these newspaper pages, but again, this is just enough. Like, that's why I couldn't get through Watchmen. You know, Watchmen is just so hard to fucking read, and the art, there was no pizzazz to it. And look, I don't care if you're, oh, dude, you're hitting Watchmen, dude. Like, to this day, I have not been able to read Watchmen. I own it. I own the hardcover, and I can't get to the end. I really fall asleep after just trying to get through the first couple of whatever issues. So, and then it doesn't have what this has, which is just, again, that ability of Todd to just do these really interesting panels, even when there's not a whole lot going on. And again, this one here, not a whole lot going on. So
yeah, again, you got the nine panel grid, or the 9 panel grid going on here, which was kind of interesting. Just quick flashback stories.
Yeah, you don't see that from Todd. You know, like he's not really the 9 panel grid guy, but he's building up.
And then we get hey, what's up, Mark? Good to see you.
Mark.
Me too. Never read Watchmen. I was just saying the same thing here. I've never read it. I flipped through it.
Yeah, well, I've read it. I just can't get through it. So I've read about 2 issues worth of it, and I'm like, I'm tapping out. This is like, it's not there for my brain.
Yeah, I'm with the
whereas Mcfarlane, I can definitely handle those, you know, those little bit chunks. 1 page of text to lay it down, no problem. I mean, look, everything on here is pretty sparse.
Yeah, right now, yeah, absolutely. I know that later on in the Spawn run, especially I think when Greg started drawing, you would have like a splash page, and then you'd have like Spawn up here on a building, and then you would just have this massive amount of dialogue just written here, you know, like, and there would be times where it's just like, I can't read that. Like, it's just too much.
And then, like, what I like what he's actually set up here is he's just really busting out the origin. You know, he's like, oh, hey, this happened. I was a soldier. I died. I made a deal with the devil. And now you're going to take the ride with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how he comes out of the 9 panel grid, and you just boom right into this, you know, kind of Todd McFarlane crazy dynamic.
Yeah,
layout,
nice.
You know?
Like, but again, this is all design. You know, he's putting these kind of out of control paneling going on there, giving that kind of chaotic feel to it. The drawing itself in the background, not a whole lot going on. It's another beautiful kind of Todd half silhouette city with a little bit of a Spawn mask in there. But I don't know if the Spawn mask was even necessary. But then he puts that hourglass down below, and then that is what really kind of sets this this page off in terms of its ultimate execution design. You're just like, okay, this is like a full page now. If it wasn't for the hourglass and the timer, I'm not sure that I'd get the same feel for this.
Oh yeah.
So
I'll say one thing about Todd and his buildings. Like, as cool as it is to see some artists be able to draw some really awesomely detailed buildings, there's something I really like about the black silhouette
Mhm.
with just the line work for windows and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's a creepy mood, right? Like it really kind of sets the mood
Yeah.
that you're trying to paint here.
Yeah, no, it's that Frank Miller high contrast. You know, like there is a reason for that visual pop. And if he went in there and let a colorist go in there, or if he rendered it up, yeah, it would be okay. But you know,
Right.
he's doing it really smart.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just it's pleasing to the eye.
Mhm.
And like, yeah, the first it's cool. You know, when you watch the build up here, you went from layouts he does all these little panel layouts, and then gradually, you know, we just had the page before, which was a
Mhm.
splash, but it, you know, it had a bunch of stuff on it. And then you go to this page, which is a splash with just one thing on it with script. And then the next page is going to be
Yeah,
know,
he's teasing it out. Yeah,
right,
he's teasing
yeah.
it out right up to here.
And then just boom, you know, he hits this double page spread. Like, oh my god,
That's
like,
fuck you. I'm Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody saw that, you know, in whatever 91, 92, when people saw that, everybody, like every kid, I'm sure, was just like,
yeah,
this is probably the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like,
yep,
it was so dead on perfect for what he needed to introduce his character. Like, we saw that, and I just like, God damn, how do I draw that? How do I do that?
I know, like
The anatomy is so fun and exaggerated, you know, like even
Yep.
that torso that again, you know, like you get those wide shoulders in this shot, and he doesn't do this all the time, but he does this wide shoulders here, and you get the narrow waist and the big chain belt wrapping around.
Yep.
And then the cape is just going crazy. Like people who weren't aware of Todd doing these kind of pointy capes, like this was like Todd's cape unleashed. Like, let's see
Yeah.
what all we can do with this cape now that we have a symbiote kind of type situation with it going on.
Yep. Yeah, just I mean, still to
Brilliant.
this day, this is
Yeah. And again, computer coloring was new. To see a comic book with this kind of rendering going on was cutting edge right now, because again, it was flat colors at Marvel. All that Spider-Man stuff, they were all, you know, 2 or 3 tone flat colors. So now we're going to full renders, and now we're looking at things that are almost like being paintings. And it's like, you know, for definitely younger people in the entire comic book industry, like right now, everybody was just like jaws were hitting the floor. And this is why Marvel now uses computer coloring. That's why they have gradients, because these guys left and forced it upon the industry. They were so successful that Marvel and DC had no choice but to follow the lead of this small independent company that no one had barely heard of.
Yeah, definitely
Like,
trendsetters in what they were
The
doing.
impact of Image Comics, you know, it's hard to it's hard to believe almost unless you were
Right.
there. Like, how could these guys do this? Like, everyone computer colors now. Well, this is why. And you're going to say, oh, well, they were using Malibus. It doesn't matter. Image Comics popularized computer color. I had a whole thing with Mike Smiller on this. And, oh, dude,
Did you?
he's just trying to take any credit away from Image Comics. Like,
Was he?
yeah, oh yeah. Oh, he was using Malibu's coloring department for color separations. Like, I don't give a fuck. Nobody was buying Malibu comics knowingly. You're buying Image Comics, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, all they got was a little bit of here. That's it. That's all Malibu.
Oh yeah,
got.
right
Boom,
there. There's a little credit for Malibu on the left.
That's
there,
it.
Yeah.
You know, which is funny. You were talking about like the under, you know, the bounce lighting, like a lot of the warm lights in this. It's funny that when we looked at the Spawn stuff, or not Spawn stuff, the Pit stuff that Olaf did there for a few issues, it wasn't all that impressive. But I really liked what he did with Spawn. Like what he did with Spawn really, really worked. I thought, like the palettes he used.
Yeah, I feel like his Spawn
good.
is actually from more in tune with what I was seeing with the Akira stuff. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. I hesitate to say kind of a muted, but the feel was just different. But on the art side here again, Todd's design, you know, great way of just, you know, again, breaking panel borders, keeping these what would be relatively uninteresting shots interesting by how close he's moving. Like, that's what you have to remember, guys. It's like a great director You know, like the idea that he would draw a hand that big and the cigarette smoke whipping around, and like these are that extra level of art, of comic book art, that is just it seems difficult to find. And Todd was doing it everywhere. He didn't care. Like even these silhouettes of Sam and Twitch, you know, the little negative silhouette on Twitch there. It leaves it open. Let a colorist go in there. Very subtle, I believe. I believe there. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It looks like a subtle gradient.
It's just like I mean, you can't. It actually doesn't really pick it up. There's a slight. Well, it just might be the way it's printed.
It looks kind of flat. I probably would have. I probably would have worked in a very subtle gradient. But again, these guys this is all new. So.
But yeah, I was going to point that out. Like, I love how you got a panel here that's just in negative space. You know, it's not bordered out, but it's its own panel. It's its own environment, but it's just perfectly just, you know, the city underneath it. Just this like.
Now I would say, because there's that moon there, I'd almost wish that that moon was gone to let that whole open white area just breathe, you know, because they didn't color the moon. He didn't detail the moon. It's just there's the moon.
That is a good point. Yeah, it's just a circle there.
Yeah, it's not necessary. It's not helping anything really. So just, you know, crop that out.
I say he's probably like me. Like I'm addicted to throwing moons into places.
The moon.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah, and I think
now the work. This is like real work, you know. Like he's going in here and having to go in there and do all his fine renderings and trying to create a sense of motion, and this is a rape scene.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Yeah, you don't see this a lot in comics anymore.
But even look at the raper there. Like he's all big and hulking and fat, you know. But you know, like he's fun to look at the way that he's drawn. Like, you know, the pants and like everything's just, it's Todd. It's not the way that anyone else would draw. You know, this fat guy except Todd.
Yeah. Todd. You know, Todd had that unique style, man. It was just. There's something about his stuff that really stood out, no matter from everybody else. You know, it was cool back then.
I'd say it's cool now. If Todd McFarlane was doing this on a Spawn or a new property, which would be fantastic. You know, I'd be first in line for it.
Well, the thing about this, a scene like this, which is what he was trying to get across, is like he wanted to establish that his character was not like Spider-Man, not like Batman. And you're not going to take it easy on the criminals. So what's the best thing you could do? You throw them into a situation with some very disgusting, vile things happening that you want to be like, all right, fuck these guys. They need to die. And the person to do it is going to be Spawn. You know, so you throw it into like a rape scene instead of like a mugging scene, which doesn't make any sense. But you could see, you know, some guys getting down and ready to rape a chick. You could be like, yeah, I can see Spawn, you know, taking these guys out. You know,
and real quick, just 1 second on that page, Joe, is again, keep in mind, this is all new. Like when we first saw this, that cape, like now we take this stuff for granted and we're just like, let's not even mention. But no, this, like when this first book came out and you saw that cape, I mean, every time you see what he's doing with this cape, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like it was exciting. And the chains and then as you're going through here and trying to kind of figure out how do you draw all this stuff? Like, you know, like I remember wanting, you know, I probably gave an attempt at drawing this actual shot right here, just, you know, the pose and trying, how do you get the cape to work? How do you do all that stuff? Just fun.
Yeah, it was just fun, inspiring things to look at. And again, you know, just like some violent, you know, just we'll do it. We'll take care of this bad guy. We'll take him out. We'll throw him out the window. I love the silhouette here at the end. Just
classic.
Very moody, you know.
Yeah, you know, I was drawing Spawn once for, I don't know if it was drawn and quartered or something like that. I don't know what it was. But I'd gone through and I'd done so much just drawing, rendering, la-di-da. And I realized at some point, if I just did this whole thing in silhouette, it actually looks 10 times cooler. You know, right? Like, and that's a great thing that Todd was figuring out, is like, hey, you can just give a really cool all black silhouette, have little bits of kind of spot color, and there may be a little bit of rendering line, but again, you're able to get in and out with very little work, and it looks fucking cool. And that's all that matters, is that it looks cool. And that's the same reason with those buildings, with there, everything is half lit. You know, the power of the silhouette. Don't underestimate it.
Clayton says Spawn is just the best, one of the coolest comics of all time. Dark, intricate artwork or art. It was different to so many other comics that were out back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Like this was a different kind of character than you saw. Like even the dark characters at the time, like Batman and whatnot. Like Spawn came out and was completely different. You got this dude, you know, killing dudes, the heaven and hell aspect. That was one of the things about Image, man. Like they came out with some characters that were fresh, they were new, and they were just really exciting. I forgot about this poster. I'm sure I pulled this out of one of my versions.
Yeah, was this the did they use this image for the original like ad? Like, but it was it was more basic color. I seem to remember this image being used as an ad.
I'm sure they probably did.
Yeah.
And all those. Oh yeah, the videos on the Marvel or the comic book greats.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, over for this right here.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got those. Wasn't that in Michigan? Because I seem to remember driving out to the place.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah, Livonia.
Yeah, Livonia.
Yeah,
huh.
Detroit. Yeah,
No
yeah.
shit.
I actually drove out there and got
Nice.
tapes.
I
I don't know
that.
how the hell that fucking happened. Like, what was the circumstance of that? I think I was like, "Mom, can we go here?"
That's
and
awesome.
I picked up tapes. Yeah.
Shit. I wish I had realized that when well, of course I was quite a bit younger when this book came out. All you people can't see you see how your love affects our reality. Thanks, Rob.
There you go. They got a black and white one of this in here, but it says it was just a pull-out poster, so it wasn't maybe an ad as well, but
Okay.
as far as that went in this.
Yeah, Hex Allen. Al Simmons was a black character too, and I don't recall any race baiting crap in Spawn. Revolutionary, yeah, yep, that was what was cool about it. Like nobody batted an eye that he was a black character. He was just a cool character, and that's how you do it.
To be fair, he did turn white though.
He did,
but that was a punishment.
Right? Yeah, that was yep.
Yeah, I'm not a white guy. He's like blonde hair, blue eyes, and looks great.
Cracker.
Here's kind of another one of those panels you were talking about, like. Kind of like with the hand with the smoking, it's just a very subtle thing where you get this extreme close up, little bit of showing a little bit of power, but great outline of the Spawn's face there.
Another Mcfarlane-ism on how to get away from having to really draw anything is use a sound effect, the boom.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, well that happened. There must have been an explosion. Like again in Spider-Man, you'd have panels and it'd just be thwip, 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 thwip. And you'd be like, we don't have to show him fighting everybody, or a pow zap. Whatever, and it's just like, okay, all this stuff is going, but we're going to use these kind of lettering as a bit of the kind of art when we lay them in, so they have a nice graphic quality contributing to the story.
Yeah, Clayton said Spawn felt like an adult comic book, like you shouldn't be reading it as a kid. Made every other superhero book look meek, but then many of the other Image books had the same vibe. That was one of the things, like I said, when Image came out, it completely changed my life as far as to what I expected out of comics, because it was like the R-rated comics. Like, I felt like Marvel was like PG-13 along with DC sometimes, and Image came out and it was like, boom, for, teens and adults, we're going to have more blood, ultra violence, sexier chicks. And that was the thing as a 12-year-old that was like really cool at the time. I was like, fuck, like this kind of shit in comics is awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It made them, the bad boys of comics. I mean, but Todd was already the bad boy of Spider-Man, because he was already putting in those darker themes in Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
And right back to Rob with X-Force. Now, Jim Lee may not have had so much guiding hand in the X-Men stuff. I think he contributed some of the plot in the end, something, but why wouldn't you? If your competition is not willing to do, and this goes right into Comicsgate, if your competition is not willing to do what you think needs to be done to maximize your sales and your audience's attention, then why would you leave anything, off the table?
Yeah, it was great getting away from the whole comics code, because they could just do whatever the hell they wanted without anybody saying, nope, can't do that, too bloody, whatever.
Yeah, and more great design from Todd. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, this is another just awesome page. Like this whole issue, like he was really coming out like flexing in this issue. Like, I think we established that he hadn't drawn for a while after Spider-Man. So like this is when he finally did this, it was like the first time he'd drawn like in a year or whatnot. So this book hit the shelves, and he was just putting it all in here, man. He has some great page designs, all in issue 1, some awesome splashes. Like this.
And like even that
that
word balloon on the right hand side, like that's an intentional thing where he put that word balloon so it breaks the panel border. Like there's more than enough room there for that not to break a panel border. But again, with his overlapping whatnot, and a lot of people try to do too much design, but they don't really have a focus on how to design a page. And like you find that a lot with especially newer guys. Like they want to do, especially when I'm 15, 16, I'm just trying to do design. What's the craziest design I can do on this stuff without really understanding a lot about comic art and kind of the subtleties of comic art. And, Todd really has that stuff largely under control. Sometimes it gets a little funky, but, to know what you're doing, to understand, how you're designing these pages. Again, just so they're visually interesting. That's the only reason he's doing all that razzle dazzle on the left. He could tell this whole thing in just a few panels and they'd be straightforward and the page itself would be relatively boring, but he turned the whole thing into this huge design project.
And even with the design aspect being just, if you look at it, you're just like, wow, it's a crazy design. It flows really nice. Like it moves you through perfectly the way he wants you to move through the page. So it's very easy to read. And
he's doing that same trick that he did on page 1 with the slivers, those little cut panels with the moon. Like now he's doing that through the mask. Like he's doing it. Zoop, 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 zoop.
Yeah. So I mean, just great imagination.
Yeah. I'm convinced some people are permanently stoned. Because like this is like, I think Todd's a pretty straight edge type guy, when it comes to drugs. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't think he was ever a pothead or anything like that.
I don't think so either.
But these are things that I would be doing on pot, like I would not be doing these things sober. I'd just be like, man, if I did that line there, what if I just keep doing these lines, dude? Just keep breaking these up into little slivers. And, so like Todd and also like Ethan, I'm convinced these guys are permanently stoned. It's just a chemical balance. It's different. Yeah. So they function well. But, I need weed to get to that spot and put in that time. But also then, you have like he does the simple backgrounds there. He's not spending all day drawing the trees and whatnot. It's just little outlines. Let a colorist go in there, do their thing. So
good, good tricks in a way that make things look good. It's not a cheat. It's just, some good ways, good storytelling. You got some more reporters there instead of a black background. Now you got a white background. I don't know if that's significant with the daytime. I'm not sure. I haven't read it in a while.
Yeah, it could just be to give a different sense of mood or whatnot. Yeah, I haven't read this in forever, but that would be the smart way of doing it. Otherwise, you probably just want to keep it kind of consistent, or maybe it's just to break it up. Like he doesn't want people to ever look at something and be like, this is kind of boring, especially since he's doing stats. Like, I don't know how different. Oh yeah, I think their haircuts are different here. Is that right? Like if we look at the previous newspaper thing, is that what's going on?
Let me see where they at here.
Oh yeah, she got a trim.
Oh yeah, she did.
Maybe a Brazilian.
So hers is definitely different.
Yeah, so we see how these people progressed over what, 7 years, something like that. 6 years.
She's got the mushroom head kind of penis haircut there, and now she's a little bit more stylized.
Yeah, the fat guy got his beard. I think he got the beard trim, and the other guy just grew his stash and got a little older.
Yeah. I never noticed that before until now. It's probably because I glossed over a lot of those pages because it's like, they're anchors. They're news anchors. Let me get the spawn. What do you think the point of those lines? What do you think was the point of those lines?
Like on the spawn mask?
Yeah.
Well, I think he did the one graphic with that blast going through the eye, and then he just realized he had a sliver. And again, that's something I think people would be looking at when they're stoned, and they'd say, I can just almost panel, but also it can give you an effect of slight effect of timing, like or just this stuff is all starting to rattle off into kind of infinity almost. So You know, like Joe said on the page one, it can almost be like it's trying to push you, like it's trying to push you left, or maybe this one is almost trying to, in a way, pull you down.
Yep.
So I think it would have been more effective though if those lines would have got thinner and thinner as it went, instead of leaving that very last bit at the tail
that
end.
one. Yep, I was gonna say that one does look a little odd if you think of it that way, but.
So I would have just said, hey, if you would have just continued that pattern all the way down, you know, I don't know. I guess it'd be almost kind of Steranko or something. Just the design is just, it's, you know, it's so interesting and visually different. He doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and to just have that symbol on his face mask, to be able to do designs like that was a brilliant move in itself. And he would lean so heavy into that going on in the future, and which was crazy cool, because you could draw a silhouette in Spawn and just draw that eye, you know, part around his eye, and it would look super cool in the dark.
Yeah, bottom panel again. Like I remember seeing that when I was a kid. I'm like, it's just the teeth, you know. But it's like again, it's that use of black and white. I mean, this is, you know, near Frank Miller that Todd is doing a lot of the time. And it's beautiful. And the trick on all that, guys, is to have 100% black. So when you go in there, like that's why Mignola looks so cool, because it's almost like he gets this perfect kind of outline of black, and then it's got a perfect fill. There's not little gaps of white unless it's really meant to be there, but it's that solid black shape that really makes these things pop. And that goes even when Travis Charest was getting into his kind of Mignola phase. You just got to fill that whole area in 100%.
Yeah, I love some dark black pages when it comes to that. And the one thing I loved about like the early Image books, Pit, Spawn, the Max, was because it was just so heavily dark. Matt Hip says, hip. The page layout for the reporters reminds me what was used in Graveyard. Well, Hip, we covered that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, we are completely pulling a rip on that. So, yeah, that's it. That's the whole intent of why we do that in Graveyard Shift. But also the purpose of like Dark Knight too. But it's those are opportunities to build the world up very quickly, to let people know right to the reader and say, hey, here's what's going on in the kind of larger picture of things, just in case we're not, you know, able to spend that time on it right now. So I think in volume 2, I think that was where we introduced Nightwalker. There was like a little, he was in one of the reporter pages, and then he shows up in the supplemental for volume 3, or the volume 2 supplemental, but volume 3 campaign. So yeah, they're very useful. Great storytelling mechanism.
What I love about this page and the scene, we just went from the panel you were just talking about earlier, where he's just basically kind of pulling his costume off right now, and we're going to get the reveal of what has happened to him in the next page. But I really like the subtle aspect of this. You know, you got, this isn't like completely black, you know, it kind of fades into the color here. It's just kind of a cool dynamic. I love the kind of like manga kind of speed lines, just adding some shock.
It's interesting that the cape isn't affected by where would have been the ground. See, that point goes below. Again, like that's something I feel like that's something you would do when you're stoned, you know? But on the colors on that, I will do a little poo-pooing, and I would say I hate that on the colors for the red of the cape there that they went to white. You know, the red for most of this book is so rich, and then they color to white, and it's like, no, never color to white on red. You get pink.
Right. I love this comment here by Shanth
and Jetty.
Said, what is great about this stuff is that it's pure comics doing only things that comics can do. Yeah,
that's true.
That's absolutely great comment. I got my tracking number for Graveyard Shift. Can't wait. Hell yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for backing.
This issue is certified soy free. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the first 20 issues are pretty soy free, man. Like Spawn was great, but for everything that it was, once Todd left, I wasn't able to stay on. Like Todd was my guy, and when he wasn't drawing it, like I just couldn't. I didn't like Greg Capullo's work, so I was just like, nah, I think I'm done.
I will say that it took me a while to get into Greg's work. It wasn't until Greg kind of found his style later on, and I'm talking like 40s 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s when he was really kind of coming into his own with that style. But his original style I didn't like because it was just such a different feel than what.
It was like Ramita Jr. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, it was like when he did his fill-in issues, and then when he was kind of taking over, it wasn't the same. Thinking on the bottom of the panel is crazy good, and this entire book is absolutely good. But here we go with the reveal, and it's funny too because it's a reveal, but it's still at the same point. It still leaves a little bit of a mystery of what has happened to him. You know.
Yeah, I love the panel too, like how it's congested, and again, like Todd with his cheats, you know. Like he didn't draw, that panel full bleed and leave panel 1 as an inset. This is actually a panel with a little bit of a panel break. The cape is breaking the panel, and and he's giving you kind of a minimal space so he can kind of cramp, give that kind of claustrophobic look. It's a cheat, but it's a smart cheat.
Yeah.
I wonder if he draws that type of stuff like smaller. Like it's as long as you get it sized right for print. Like I'm not sure if he's doing tight thumbnails or whatnot. I seem to think that, and I haven't watched his comics book great in years, but
I can't remember how.
I almost wanted to say he just goes right to the board, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too, but yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, to end the book in the way and showing the bad guy for the first time. I mean, awesome design for Mel Bolgia. I mean.
Yeah, the lettering, the like swirling all the way down and around. Like that's like almost like a great Joker moment.
And again, that's three panels, if you can see. That's just cool. Just break that up. Why not?
And look what he did with the buildings in panel 1. Again, it's just negative silhouettes. It's just the outline, and let the colorist go in there with a little gradient and call it done. And then you get the little Spawn silhouette there. Great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Fake it till you make it, he says. And we were talking though that just I forgot about that too. That's what back when Pitt was kind of brownish before they made him like full on gray.
Yeah. No real, only a very minimal veinage going on there, looks like.
Yeah. This was like probably this had been like the very first kind of promo that they did.
They got that red lighting on them. That's nice.
Yeah, that's good. I wonder who colored that. I don't even see any no signatures.
Somebody recolored that recently, and it came out pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's right. You brought that. Yeah, you showed me that. That was pretty decent.
I forgot his name. Sounds a guy.
Cruising to issue 2 again with the cover, like that kind of paintery airbrush style that was unique at that point.
I had that as a shirt, and that was probably one of the most comfiest shirts I've ever had. Gray cotton. The shirt was cool too, but
Noah said Mcfarlane actually teased Liefeld for doing tight thumbnails and blowing it up in comic books. Great videos. The comic books great vid. He's hey.
How you doing? This show can't get better.
I lost the camera. Hold on a second.
Oh man. Bust out some Todd on.
Yeah, he said he tries to do as few steps as possible to retain the energy. That makes sense because I mean Todd was, he was prolific. Like he was drawing, inking, sometimes lettering, sometimes trying to color his own book, his own work, while also trying to do covers for other people. And yeah, when you put in that extra step of thumbnails and blow ups, like it's hard enough in a digital age, just stepwise. But yeah, like Rob he'd have to head down to Kinko's all the time. Yeah, great. Black and white.
Oh, hell yeah.
Even when I worked for Rob, like that's what it was. It was blowing up thumbnails and going to Kinko's. So
what the F, man? What's going on here?
Now would he be like eyeball it to a certain size, or would he be like, I wanted this? Like, was there a specific?
Well, he'd do whatever layout thumbnail that he wanted, and then he would say, blow this thumbnail up, give me 50%, 150%, 300%, different sizes, and then whatever those sizes were, and then he would actually kind of mix and match out of those printouts what he would want to use for the board itself.
Right on.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
I think I got working again.
Again, the use of black, man, like that, being able to have good solid blacks, and then in all that white area, putting in some rendering, but leaving enough room for a good colorist to go in there and do their work. So, but that depends on having a good colorist, because if you have a poor colorist and they go in there, it starts to make you look bad very quickly. So you have to have a great colorist. Every artist should always be looking for a great colorist. That's why Ethan holds on to Kyle so tightly, because it's like he knows like a good colorist is hard to find. Kyle's one of the top in the industry too.
Oh, absolutely. Colors make or break. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's absolutely. If you find one of those guys, you definitely hold on to him. Yeah, the Mcfarlane book is awesome. I need to get it. It's one of the things in my collection I need. First shot here, the Violator. It's cool, just kind of fat, pudgy villain here. That
debris, all the nibs, the slashing with the ink to make these cool textures. It's just graffiti-ish. It's dope.
Yeah, I love the giant text there. I am the Violator.
And every single character you drew once you got to this age was in the alley. Why? I don't know, but that's where shit took place.
Yeah, because that looked cool.
Yeah, and what I like about the Violator's kind of introduction is that it's it's this short fat guy with this weird it didn't look like anything else. Like maybe it was, I don't know, who's that guy? The guy with the guns and Bugs Bunny. Yosemite Sam. You know what I mean? It's like it's so visually different from what you would kind of expect, But if Violator was, I don't know, 6 foot something tall, he would look like, who was that guy that Bart Sears drew for DC? What was that called? Anyways, it would just look like another kind of, it's just another standard kind of mold. And Todd's breaking the molds, with the fat rapist guy, with the short Violator, and even what Violator turns into his true form, like that whole thing, that's different. Like the Violator's family vindicator, whatever, the Malbolgia, just all those different figures, they all have that different look. It's something different to look at.
Eclipso.
Oh, Eclipso. Thank you, Eddie. Yeah, that's right. Eclipso.
Where was it at? Oh yeah. So I gotta agree with Crazy Matt here. That the 1996 Spawn movie might not have been the greatest, but John Leguizamo was the shit as the clown. Oh no!
Whoa!
Okay, hold on a second. Goodbye. That's stupid.
Live TV.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think everything about that Spawn movie was garbage. Like John Leguizamo and his, I don't know, his lisp. I just couldn't stand it. Like him in the I don't know, the midget fat suit. I don't know. Everything about that movie was trash. I just could not get into the movie. I don't like the guy that played Spawn. I think he's a very boring actor.
Right.
Michael Jai White, I think his name is. He's fine, but like even when he was in Batman, I was just like, God, why did they get him? He's so just middle of the road. Like he doesn't really have any kind of acting chop, like he can say a line and he can look good saying a line, but he's not pulling out any fucking deep Brando shit. There's no one character where it's like, man, Michael Jai White, he really set the tone for that character. And it could have been anyone, like could have been anybody in that role. They just get Michael Jai White.
They should have put that kid in turmoil. The little alley homeless kid. They're like, oh, nobody cares about homeless people. It's a kid, but like they should have killed him. Like made the.
Wait, are you talking about the movie or something?
Yeah, the movie. Remember there was like a little midget kid from I think it was Kindergarten Cop. The little perverted kid that talked about the penises and vaginas.
Yeah.
They should have slayed him, and that movie would have been the shit.
Oh, that would have been that would have been completely in line with Mcfarlane too. Yeah. Kill the kids. Put the kids in danger. No, I mean, that movie's terrible. Like, even when I remember watching it, like Spawn jumps off that balcony and he's like shooting, 2 machine guns or whatever while he's doing it. And like half the time he's shooting at the wall behind him. So it just really kind of stamps on how bad this movie is. Like, it was like, I felt like it was Trauma level with a better budget. Like,
right.
I was like, what is he doing? He's doing this flip and he's shooting these guns off while he's flipping, but he's shooting like the wall behind him, the ceiling.
Everybody.
Like, he's not shooting anybody. It's just god awful.
But we did get a sort of Rob Liefeld type of gun brought to the screen. So, like, if that movie did anything, we got that.
All right, so I'm gonna have to go with it. There was a problem with my iPad. I had to shut that down. So we're gonna go with this. I'm just gonna do this as a handheld.
Yeah, Mike TV Dub says no gravitas or charisma. Yeah, that pretty much nails it. Thank you. Sometimes I have trouble finding the right words. That's why I need you, chat. Thank you.
I hope Moon Knight will be good, but I'm worried that they're gonna fuck Moon Knight up.
I don't care. Like, for me, I care so little about Moon Knight. Like, it can only be good. This is like, who fucking cares about Moon Knight except Joe? Like,
well, yeah. Movie sucked and the cartoon was all Spawn crying in the alley. Yeah, I like a lot of aspects of the cartoon, but it could have been a little bit better. That's for sure.
I know a lot of people hold the cartoon up as a high mark. I've only seen bits of the cartoon though.
Toxic Avenger.
Which may actually
Jersey represent.
Yeah, Toxic Avenger. Yeah, that's trauma. Yeah, but that might lend to the quality of the cartoon, because like if I'm not watching it, if you can't pull me in, then that's your fault. That's not my fault. So it's your job to hook me.
What's going on, Admiral Wackass? Good to see you guys. If you're just joining us, I had to switch cameras here, so that's my bad. So I'm going to go to a handheld, so it's going to be a little bit moving around, a little bit more.
They wouldn't have known regardless.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. But all right, so here we go.
Awesome shot. Smash that like, subscribe if you haven't, and share the link up.
Yeah, thank you, John. I always forget to do that.
Well, thank you, Jalapeno Carrizo, I guess. That's a sketchism. A fuck. I got a fuck. I think he uses a Q, though. PHOQ.
It's clever.
Fuck you.
Sketch curses so much when we did the supplemental, we actually put a line in there as like an ode to Sketch.
Oh, yeah.
One of the bad guys says, I think it's fuck you. Oh, actually, I got the supplemental. I think it's fuck you, motherfucker. How did we rate that?
Spawn's okay, I guess.
Yeah, right here. Okay, hold on, look. Where is it?
Fuck you.
Right here. Fuck you, motherfucker. Right here.
Nice.
That's our ode to Sketch, like a legitimate. Like we sat in the lettering process and like, let's put a little hello to Sketch. He'd like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So very cool panel designs.
Wait, what was the previous page there?
The previous page was a half headshot.
Oh, okay. So he's using like 3 or 4 pages for just Spawn kind of brooding here then, right? Because the one before this, I think, was the splash with him with the crucifix.
Yep. Awesome classic shot there.
Yeah. Pretty simple. I mean, we don't get the mood of that kind of upshot. This almost it comes off a little bit more like fan art, but it's still Mcfarlane. So,
right.
But it's just such a straight on shot. It's just like, oh, okay. And, now Todd is, again, here comes the kind of time saving measures, like, okay, well, I'll put in this real simple splash. But again, that cape, the craziness of that cape is enough to really turn any boring static shot into this amazing, because you're like, wow, look at that cape just going everywhere. But if that was just Spider-Man, you'd say, yeah, that's kind of boring.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The cape definitely does help a lot when it comes to the Spawn aspect. Again, the cheats, you can draw basically a chest, a torso, 2 arms, and a part of a head and call it good.
Yeah.
What's going on, Steve?
Steve.
Oh, Crypto Ken says, check it out on HBO Max, man. Yeah, I have HBO Max, and I think I did try watching an episode, and then I don't know, maybe I fell asleep. I don't know.
My favorite part was the opening. And he's like, I'm Todd McFarlane. Like, he would ink the page for the season 1.
Oh yeah, he did some kind of like Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, but
right?
to see him do his noodles or his whatever,
Yeah.
fucking cherishable. I don't know. I loved it.
I don't know. I'd rather him be in an alley, like fucking Robert Stack.
Well, he's
like Unsolved
drawing. Like,
Mysteries.
that's
I'm Todd
thing,
McFarlane. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you about Spawn.
Spawn.
Some burning barrels. Oh, he could be in his cameo. Remember when he did the cameo in the Spawn movie? He had like a yellow slicker on or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm Todd McFarlane.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Up close, pull back.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed a difference between the first issue and this issue that I hadn't before until just now. But you can definitely tell that, and not in a bad way, but you can definitely tell that he's pulling back just a little bit compared to what he did in the first issue. And some of that might be time restraint. Now you're getting on a regular schedule. You have so much time with that first issue to really, really go crazy with. But I feel like there's just a little bit, like you talked about the splash with Spawn in the beginning. There's where he's sitting on the cross. Looks a little bit like he could have done a little bit more compared to like what he did in the first issue. So it could just be a time restraint thing, but a shot like this is awesome. Like this is just that Violator shot is like fuck.
And the funny is on the news, he didn't even bother with the stats this time. It's just here's 3. You know. But again, like what he's doing is he's more than likely just light boxing the previous shots. Again, he's saving time. He's just like, okay, I'll just give a different haircut, a little bit of different jewelry, maybe a different trim on these guys this time, and I'm in and out of the page in no time.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of brooding in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's the white guy change.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he's tired of looking like a rotting corpse, and he's like, I wonder if I can fix this. And then he tries to give himself flesh, and then the devil is like, no, you're going to have flesh. You're going to be a white dude. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to hell as a white guy. Now you'll be able to park wherever you want. You'll be allowed to move around freely.
Son of a bitch.
Do you like doors being open for you? Well, here you go. It's like, what?
Doors at the grocery store will open for you every time.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your privilege.
Here's your card.
Yeah. Welcome to hell. Like even here, there's not a lot for backgrounds, and like here, like I don't know, the colors maybe could have helped save this a little bit, and they didn't do a lot for it. So
even the scene like, oops, I'm going down there. Even a scene like that, I like it stylistically. It's kind of cool, but the colors could have maybe been a little bit different in the background because I like the idea of the silhouettes and then just like the desk in the window. That's cool. But I almost it would have been interesting if he had gone like all solid black background with negative silhouettes.
Yeah. Or you could leave it white again. It's just there's not a lot. And that panel on the middle panel on the right, again, it's almost like he's just kind of like, how do I just kind of crap through this one? Like that's not like the big money shot that people would want to see.
Yeah, Steve. We covered that earlier. John said they completely ripped off the reporters from Spawn.
Yes, for the third time. Yes,
for the third time. Yeah, 100%. It's all right. Yeah, everybody joins the show at different times. We get it. We get it. Just I guess I didn't realize like how much commentary there was in this issue.
Oh, and here he's on fire. Like these are 2 great pages here. So he's making up for it a little bit.
Yeah.
And that half Spawn face, like that looks pretty wicked. Like again, it like kind of goes back into that. It looks anime to me.
Yeah, this kind of stuff. Yeah, this kind of stuff was always cool.
Yeah.
Which I was gonna say I was gonna bring this up when we were looking at issue 1, and I completely forgot, but I remembered now. I did think that he kind of leaned a little bit more into like a caricature aspect of characters, if that makes sense, in Spawn than he did like in Spider-Man. because you get to Spawn, and now you get these over the top characters like Sam and Twitch. You know, like the faces like big faces, small faces, skinny. You know, you see a lot of stuff like that he was messing around with in the early Spawn issues.
Yeah. There's definitely a Disney stamp. Sorry,
because you look at Jim Lee, and Jim Lee, you know, just has the mop.
Henry.
You know, it's like every face is nearly exactly identical to the other one, and that's fine. But you know, that's where you do get a lot of appreciation for people like Todd and even Will Sprotasio. You know, they would just do these kind of almost like things that you would just be noodling on, you know, in your spare time. Like, oh, here's this guy with a big nose and big ears and, you know, tiny eyes, you know, and then they just find a spot to put that noodle into their book. But that's awesome. Same with Miller. Well, Miller didn't do much of a stamp, but like, you know, when with like That Yellow Bastard, you know, like that face was so different than everything else. It's just, you know, it's smart. It's smart cartooning.
Yeah. Crazy Mad says Fragtober needs its champion. Yeah, I think we all can agree on that.
Champion needs its belt.
That's true. Yeah. Keep waiting for that belt to be delivered.
I might just show up and watch. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm even going to participate this year. So I'm not sure anyone deserves my belt until I've worn it for a year. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Like, you got to have it on you. You got to show it.
Well, I should have it draped over my shoulder for a year straight so people covet it. Who cares about a belt if it doesn't mean anything to me? Like, oh, you want it? Here you go. We'll give it to Joe.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I love this. Again, another awesome silhouette there. Just enough of the Violator to pop out to make it look cool with the horns, the teeth, the eyes, everything else just solid black with some great splattered blood in the background.
I got these done during an afternoon. Not much to them, but
yeah. What's in the top panel? Is it just one? Oh, 2 panels. Yeah, that definitely didn't take very long. Yep. I mean, the one panel is all speed line.
I was just gonna say, there's.
Yeah. Like, and look at the previous page. It's the broken glass. I think we've already seen that 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah,
like there's a panel just of broken glass, and it's like, you know, fractured kind of psyche.
And he just got some smaller drawing. Yeah, he probably knocked these 2 pages out pretty quickly.
He's like, I gotta catch a flight. It's like,
Fraggle must use 2 oars. If he was #1 oar man, Malin would have had his belt right away. Oh, yeah.
You know, some people don't want to give people what they deserve, and I want what I deserve. And then after I properly rub it in everyone's faces for a year, then people say, "Man, I want that belt. Man, I want to strip that man of that belt so bad." You know, just to shut him up. What good is a heel shit talker?
That's true.
If he can't even fucking heel shit talk.
Sounds
this belt on my shoulder.
Sounds like a perfect strategy to me.
Yeah. It better be a good looking belt too. I'll get my own belt. I'll make my own belt if I have to. It's gonna fucking look like Adonis or something. It's gonna fucking look badass. Yeah. Back on topic.
I'd say, he definitely leaned into the caricature aspect with the clown, but it fits with a character like the clown. Like that makes it look pretty badass. There was some of the, I'm gonna say there were some characters that he did in this book, just throwaway characters I thought looked a little goofy, but overall, like this is still probably some of my favorite Todd work ever. The early Spawn run.
Well, yeah, but also we're looking at, you know, another kind of like this is something that we would have just found in a portfolio piece here. You know, it's Spawn, and then let's get the scale of the clown next to him, like this piece here as a page, and just like, okay, well, they're in the same setting, but it's like there's no big charm to me for this, other than the fact that we're looking at Todd doing his usual awesome rendering. You know, and it's a perfectly fine and adequate. But in terms of the, you know, his directing on here, I just wish that he would actually be setting more of a feel, I guess.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like this, the differences between issue 1 and issue 2, I feel like maybe this was an issue he's trying to get through, you know. as opposed to like the first one was a flex. The first one was definitely a flex, and this one I feel like
and that right there is what I'm talking about. That's a feel, like that's a mood. That's oh shit, like now you get it, you know. So, and I think is it the next one where he has his heart ripped out?
Yeah,
double page spread.
It's brightly colored.
Yeah, I think when we get into these next two issues, those are really well done as well. Like for some reason, I feel like this might just been like there's a lot of commentary in this, not a lot of action. I think it might have just been one of those things like let's get through it into the badass fight. Another thing too, Spawn. Something
he's orange. He's orange here. What's going on?
Yeah, a little bit pulled back from the
red. Terrible.
I think it's still. Well, maybe not. Kiko
looks like a pumpkin.
Oh, Kiko, yeah.
And Kiko's doing the colors on this, so it's not Olaf anymore. But this is, I mean, awesome cover, but yeah, is a little bit different color there.
I love Todd's stylized bats. You know, again, it's just like I don't want to draw bats all day, but I want to draw bats all day.
I draw bats like that to this day because of Todd.
Yeah, but also you see him do that kind of dynamic wing fold in the bat wings, you know, like the same stuff he's doing in the Spawn cape, you know, just again, you're twisting reality a bit, you know, almost to the limit in terms of bat drawings.
Yeah, and again, because it's comics, because it's why the hell not? Because it's a comic book.
Yeah, because I'm not even sure the outline of the bat wings are actually anatomical to how a bat wing is. So like, there's like an extra, like if you go up to the top left, you can see this bat in the foreground here. Like he's got like two different joints in his wing. Like, you see that? Like, yeah. There should, because I believe a bat wing. I'm not a scientist, but I believe bat wing is just like one up and one down. You know,
you're right. He's got all the different
then it fans out like that.
Yep.
So,
but
it doesn't matter. I'm only nitpicking, but I'm not holding that against him. I don't like the nose. I don't know why he wants to start drawing a nose in the mask.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That was the only thing that bothered me about early Spawn is he tried throwing in that nose every once in a while.
Yeah,
I don't know
off without it.
Is he still blew it off, right? Is he still the white guy at this point? Has he not turned back into?
No, because didn't he already kind of transition himself back into the hamburger face because he'd rather be hamburger than live a life of privilege?
Yeah.
But no, the nose is dumb because he didn't do it on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man looked cool. Like for years, he knew he made Spider-Man look cool, and now he's putting noses on the suit, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, that doesn't look cool. Can't you tell?
Yeah, absolutely. That's bugged me for years as well. Like it just didn't make any sense. And then you go like here is no.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just following the form too much, But if you can just pad this part out, like we kind of get there, or to where we're pulling the point of the nose down a little bit. Not that I'm anti-pointy nose or anything, but it just looks goofy. Yeah. Oh, but I love these panels. Here we get a bit more of that mood and a bit more feel, a little bit more directing. There's atmosphere going on the left hand of the page. On the right hand, I feel like we just get another kind of pin-up-y shot.
Yeah.
Straight on. Again, it's there's no big tilt to the camera, so that's kind of disappointing. I'd really rather the inset panel, that panel 2 there, if that would have been the large splash page, that nice down shot, and then kind of work with that. And then put something else into that panel too, even if it's just another close-up of an eyeball or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like how the first page, it's a good mood setter. Like I like the wind. Again, the alleyway was perfectly used as a character in Spawn. So the alley and the city became its own character within the art. And I love this. I love this shot here. This is very cool, moody. Again, like I said, you can silhouette everything. You bring out the symbols on his eyes. All the a little bit of speed lines there, just kind of giving the feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and that could be an actual back to that one question of why do the kind of cuts, in that mask design? Like we could be looking at it right there. It could just be like a negative hatching, just very geometric.
Is he partying? He could be.
No, the cape is alive. It swooshes around. It's always out there doing its own thing. Like it follows his when he needs it to do something, it follows his command, but basically it's there to look cool at all times.
Yeah, I would say he had to give a reason because he wanted to draw those big capes. And with my character, Reaper Destroyer, I did the same thing. I took my lead from or ideas from Todd with that. Like, you know, like you want to, the thing about the cape is it's so dynamic when you're drawing it. You can do so much with a cape in a comic book for leading the eyes, creating the energy, you know, all that kind of stuff. So why not work it into the story? And you can make in Spawn's case, as big of a fucking cape as you want, you know.
Not that you need an excuse, because I feel like we probably could have done the entire Spawn thing and never said that the cape was alive, and I think it would have just kept a mystique and an atmosphere about it. But you know, even when Todd was doing things like Batman, you know, and what are the Spawn looking character Prowl or whatever, they were still drawn with these very large kind of movable capes. So I think you can still get away with it. You know, as long as you're kind of that one step out of reality type illustrator. So
yeah, because in reality,
when everything gets a reason, sometimes the magic goes away. You know, hashtag midichlorians.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, you know, he really did a theme with that kind of broken panels there with the moon. We saw that with the Earth in issue 1.
Yeah, and then you pointed it out again where he did another breakup.
Yeah, and then just an awesome shot of this fat, disgusting Malbolgia. I mean, Todd was great at drawing those like big old pot belly kind of characters,
but he didn't give him bitch tits. Like that would have been maybe, you know,
Capullo did. Capullo ended
did he?
Yeah, like later on, like
mountains of nipples.
Yeah, like he had big ass nipples and shit like that.
Nice.
I always felt bad because it's like, you know, dude doesn't have any junk.
Oh yeah.
Like that's probably why he's in hell.
It's too bad.
It sucks for him. No, that was a cool page layout. I love how the hair kind of just comes out.
But again, another just kind of straight on shot. But the lighting effect that he does on there makes it stay kind of interesting. But you know, just I'd stay away from a lot of these straight on shots that he's been doing. Because it can be dramatic or it can not be dramatic. And when you have that nice dramatic kind of angle on it, then you've done everything you can do. But if you just do these straightforward shots, it's just, you don't get a whole lot of feeling or, you know, anything out of it. I don't.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I still think he's figuring out how to draw Sam and Twitch. Because I feel like they change a little bit every issue. Like they got the basic form, but there's just a little bit different about these characters. I feel like he's kind of still working on them as he's going.
I think Sam and Twitch is almost like it's a cheat in and of itself. It's like when you've drawn enough of Spawn, you've drawn enough of Malbolgia, drawing these detectives that don't really mean shit. You know, break up your story a little bit, and again, nothing wrong with it. You know, because Sam and Twitch, they ended up getting their own series at some point, and you know, they are characters, so they serve somewhat of a purpose, but another purpose they serve is to give the artist a break.
He looks like a fat Dick Tracy. Or like the guy is just exploding, but it's got that cartoony Dick Tracy feel to it.
So, Mr. Von Stubel?
Ooh.
Wait, where'd it go? Jalapeno Chorizo said, "What did Mcfarlane do before comics?" I think he was doing baseball.
College.
He was a janitor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, as far as like
he was a regular. He was a regular Freddy Krueger, being a janitor and living in a trailer and drawing. And he had dreams of baseball, but he wasn't good enough. He was good. He just wasn't good enough to go pro or anything. I don't. You know, did he even make it to a college team? I feel like he might have been the bad boy.
I thought he was. I thought he was on a college team. Yeah, I thought he was.
He hurt his arm, didn't he? Like, wasn't that the lore that he eventually hurt his arm. That's what they all say.
We'll spread that rumor.
Yeah, hurt my arm, and I just couldn't do it anymore. You know, like
yeah, he went to college and played baseball before comics. Yeah. Absolutely, Sheldon. Parker says, what I am remembering is he was the white guy only in the first arc of his origin because the devil made sure that when he used his powers, Al came closer to returning to hell. Yeah. And it was just kind of like a fuck you. You know, you're a black dude, now you're a white dude. You can't ever be yourself. We're going to make you white. He blew his knee out. Oh, that sucks. That's the case.
Allegedly. I see that guy fucking, he's like 60 years old now running around his neighborhood every day.
Oh, I'm sure he's had work done to him.
Yeah, but I'm sure he didn't have work done.
Look at this creepy dude. I don't know if you can read this or not, but he's like, speaking of cooking, why waste those beautiful lips on food when I can think of a number of things I'd much rather them do?
Blowjob, son-in-law. That's perfect.
I never caught that as a kid. Nah. I just caught that now.
Yeah, I like that.
I dig it.
That?
Forget I said that, NTM.
Yeah, I always thought that guy was a hero when I was a kid. I was like, look at this hero.
He's my hero now.
Yeah.
And like, why is he getting choked out? Because he hit on a girl?
Yeah, I don't know.
Forget what was going on here.
It's an odd looking. Sorry, excuse me.
No, don't mute or anything. That's fine.
I was going to, but like it came on me too fast.
COVID.
COVID probably. That's an odd looking head.
Yeah, it's just really thick.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, and then he's putting some nose and looks like lips in there. Todd's getting racist. We don't need the nose. We don't need the lips, Todd. Look, look at that pointy ass nose on that one. But look up above, like, even the thick head version. Right? Nose, lips.
Maybe that's why it just looks really odd to me. He's got got too much of nose and lips in there.
Oh, and the thick gorilla neck that's going on. Gorilla neck, Todd, you motherfucker. Yeah, it's too much. Like, we don't need all that. We need minimal information on that Spawn mask, just like we did on Spider-Man. Pointy ass noses popping through.
I absolutely love Todd, but there are some times where there's some stuff he does where it's like either he's just getting through it, or I don't know. It just doesn't look that great. And,
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing with Todd. But I think at times, he's getting a little lazy, and whatever. That's fine. He's making millions of dollars right now, and he's just like, I just need to get on through this, bud. I'll put another couple $1 million in my pocket. But what I always appreciated with Todd is that, like, through the design and through some of the directing, is that you feel like you're coming out of there with a mood. Like throughout the book, you feel like there's something going on. He may not be the best writer, but he's kind of being able to tap into kind of that emotion, almost like an emotional writer. So if he could string together one great, and I don't know how he evolved as a writer after I stopped reading Spawn, which is around issue 20. But I know he's written, I think, every story. Is it every story or almost every story?
For the most part, he's had guest writers
like
stuff,
like he did with Miller and Gaiman. What a mistake.
That was a mistake. That turned out
Gaiman
bad.
sued the fuck out of him.
Took Angela away, and now she's in Marvel as some kind of lesbian.
Get those contracts on lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big mistake. That's a sexy looking Wanda. Titties. Todd says every page won't be a winner. Just need a few wow pages to keep everyone happy. Yeah, I mean, I have heard him say that. It was
I would say that more for someone that's doing the monthly grind, and definitely back then they had to do the monthly grind. But I think now definitely in crowdfunding, But I feel like I'm not trying to get to where I'm just doing disposable trash. With Godlike, like I'm trying to make every page matter and build into the mood, and it's just whatever. I mean, it's a critique that's open for everybody. People will be applying it to me, I'm sure, because there's definitely spots where it's just like I'm just trying to get through the day, but with Godlike, like every page I have to do my absolute best to make it to where it's not just we got to have a few pages to keep their attention, and then the rest are all just in the dumpster. So
I always thought this technique that they used was interesting. The lighting on his face was like a silhouette shadow but lit.
It's a negative. Yeah, that's what I mean by negative silhouette. It's just a silhouette where it's not filled. The black hasn't been filled in. So, but to pull that off, you have to have a fantastic colorist. Otherwise it goes to shit real quick.
Shane has a coin slot. Oh. Here we go. Very stylized. Nice text.
Get the moon. We get another inset panel behind the moon filled with stars. Then we get another fully silhouetted city. So no windows, no nothing this time. Big sound effect, probably hand drawn in at this point for probably. That. Yeah. So yeah, probably in and out, and then we get this big kind of spawn, fiery hands. It's all right. Yeah, you're right. Ever since you brought it up, like I do notice, like the last issue and this issue, a lot of straight on shots for sure. I didn't really notice that until now. Yeah, they're just not great for mood. You want someone to be powerful, you got to give them an up shot. You want someone to look a little defeated, you got to give them a down shot.
But that's cool.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, that transition.
Yeah,
I always love that.
Kind of reminds me of like the what was it, American Werewolf in London, when they had the groundbreaking transformation of the guy turning into a werewolf with the special effects in that movie back in the day.
Oh, you know what I just noticed that I've never noticed before?
We got
Violator is Cyberfrog. Like he even has that kind of bone going through the top of his head. Remember in Cyberfrog, he's got that little bone that goes right over the top.
What? Ethan was a huge fan of
that upper part is Cyberfrog. Interesting.
We're going to bring that up. Got to bring that up to him. It's pulling back a little bit on the nose, but definitely started putting that bottom lip in, which I didn't mind the bottom lip so much. It was kind of interesting, but yeah.
He's pouting. He's pissed.
The nose just doesn't work almost every time. You can give the pouty lip, but yeah.
Yeah, Henry, that's what. Yep, exactly. American Werewolf in London was the best werewolf transformation scene of all time. Yeah, they did some really good, groundbreaking special effects with that movie, and they did a fantastic job with that scene. I'm so pissed my camera died. I gotta do this. Next time, I have it set up better. It was kind of I don't necessarily know if I would say a throwaway page, but
yeah, panel 2 is pretty great. Like I always like, wow, that's a weird looking cape now, because it's just like it used to have so many different full traditional cape shapes. Now it looks like almost like a bat wing or something. I don't know, just little wings off to the side. It's very minimal. But last panel, I'm just like, no, Todd.
Yeah,
like no, like you got to stop. Where's your editor at, Todd? Crack you in the ass. Yeah, your wife is not your editor.
Yeah, I say his wife was editing for the first at least 4
up
issues.
Until Billy Kincaid.
Yeah, then she quit.
Yeah,
but this is a money shot.
There you go. Woo!
This
God
finally,
damn.
Yeah,
that's what you bought the ticket for, right there.
Yeah, right there. This is what reminds me of like when we were looking at the Spider-Man stuff, and we kept having those, especially like the Ghost Rider issues. We had those big double-page spreads. Like that's what this reminds me of. And this is top notch. That is awesome.
That's Todd at his best right there. We still get a straight-on shot, but thankfully we get a little bit of a depth shot, with the 2-figure going on there. But also, I think even when we get the follow-up double-page spread in the next issue, I think it's still almost this exact shot, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it might be from a different. Cameras
I'm sure
moved around a little
it's changed
bit,
up a bit, but essentially it's this. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much did it again. But still, the funny thing is, like, it looks awesome because he just does such a great job with like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I just wish every page was being executed, you know, with that same sense of awe and inspiration that we get here and periodically. Sometimes it's just Todd getting through, and I don't like the excuse that it's like, oh, you got to just pepper it in with the good ones. Like, no, just go ahead and make everyone great, man. And I know Todd is capable because Todd, again, was a guy that was able to write, draw, ink, color, letter, and do other covers for other books, all while doing a monthly comic. So this guy has the ability to crank out as much speed as he wants and to get what he wants down. But hey, you know, busy times. You know, and even still, it's like they're doing a lot like us. You know, we're artists in Comicsgate, you know, some of us coming from the mainstream and just learning how to do this business end, you know.
True. Yeah.
And if you don't, you know, Todd thankfully made millions very quickly. So that means you can hire the staff that you need to kind of lighten those burdens up a bit. But, you know, otherwise, like, yeah, just the headaches of the business end of things and trying to make sure everything is lining up properly and that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's while trying to be creative at the same time. Like, it's a real juggle. Like, you know, I think a lot of us in Comicsgate are experiencing that, you know, so.
Yeah. This was one of my favorite Spawn covers early on. It's a little off center, which is, I think, fine because you have to account for the logo and everything. But it's just very moody. You know, this one. I remember the first time I saw that, I was just like, "Oh man, it's fucking badass." I'd buy the book just for that.
Yeah, every criticism aside, like every time a new issue of Spawn came out, but I mean everything in Image, but definitely Spawn because Todd has always been my number one guy. Rob and Jim Lee were always my number two, tied for second place. But yeah, every time there's like Todd was the guy like at Marvel, like it was like I want like. I would be like reading X-Men or something. I'd be like, man, I wish I could see how Todd would handle this character. You know what I mean? I want to see Todd. I want to see Todd draw, you know, X, Y, or Z. Like, I want to see his spin on it because his spin on it, it's not going to be Jim Lee's spin. It's not going to be Rob Liefeld's spin. And it's definitely not going to be the 10 guys that are all trying to draw like Jim Lee's spin. It's going to be Todd's spin. I want to see how Todd is going to spin, you know, Captain America, Wolverine, all these different guys, Sabretooth, Hobgoblin. You know.
Oh, if it came to monsters and characters like that, Todd would completely just do the best out of everything. I mean, great use of awesome. Look at that.
Again, very simple. You know, we got another inset panel. I mean, that's a quick cheat for design. You need something to look interesting. Don't make a full bleed. Just put an inset panel behind it, or I don't know what you would call it, drop panel. I don't know what you want to call it. But the lettering is what really, really sets this one off. Like that's great comic book artwork right there. And Orzechowski, great stuff.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I want to say that I think this. Yeah, here we. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it is almost the exact same.
Yeah, that is colored off the walls. That is bananas.
It's still badass though. Like that's just man.
Yeah. So nice he did it twice.
Right.
Smart idea.
Yeah.
Just moved the hand, took a little bit of Violator out.
Yeah, he took Violator out, did a big close up of the hand, and essentially repeated the shot. But this looks great.
Fuck yeah. Like that is just so good. Yeah, that's where you come. That's why you get these books. That stuff right there.
And for the reader, like this is where we were just really got the understanding. Because I think the line somewhere on here was like, he doesn't need a heart. And it's like, wow, I guess he doesn't. He's kind of badass. So at this point, but also it's like, you know that he's super powerful, but now you know the chances of him actually dying from anything are kind of going right down the tubes. You know, so when you lose that element of that threat, then it's like, you know, Batman's cool because you think he might die. You know, now Spawn, we're 4 issues in, and we know there's almost no chance in hell this guy's going to die.
Yeah, that's true with Spawn. Like, the only thing you ever worried about was him using his powers and going back to hell. Like that was like the only threat. Otherwise, pretty much everybody he fought, he'd get fucked up, shredded apart, but like he'd always heal himself or come back, that's for sure.
Cool 3 panels.
Yeah. Ooh. I was like that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, back to Spawn. Yeah, cool Violator stuff. Violator's fun to draw too. I always loved like this tiny little skinny little arms that look like they could just snap in the wind.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like this formidable villain to Spawn that could really go toe to toe with him.
Trash ass toy.
I never had the toy.
Oh, it was disrespectful. Yeah.
That's too bad. That's too bad. That's an awesome hand there, though.
Yeah, great hand.
Well, yeah, he looks flimsy for sure, but we watch him just shred hearts out. I mean, like to Todd's credit, he established, I think, 2 or 3 issues of Violator ripping people's hearts out. Now they're just average people, but now we get a chance to see if Violator is going to get any comeuppance. I don't even remember what happens to him. I mean, he sticks around, right?
Yeah, he doesn't get. I mean, he's still alive. I think they killed him off in like at some point, but then he came back.
It blended him up.
But again, it's kind of like that sense of threat. Like, how much is there when everybody is borderline immortal, and even if they do die, they presumably they go to hell, and it's not that difficult for Malbolgia to say, "Okay, you're going back to Earth," and it's like, so the threat kind of diminishes. Like, that's a bit of the weak point of some of this concept.
It really wasn't until they killed Angela in issue 100 that you could, they had to do that for legal reasons, but where you could really be like, all right, well, a character can actually die.
Yeah. Well, Angela, didn't she actually kind of collect? I don't know if it was like their soul, but she didn't she have like Spawn?
Yeah, she killed the Hell Spawns.
Like yeah. So
like the whole Angel Warrior race or whatever it was at the time. Yeah, they would kill the Hell Spawns and take their little symbols and. Yeah, she wore them as like the ear.
So Angela might have been the only real threat to Spawn.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point now. Yeah, I think the Violator's dead in the series, but I can't remember. I've bought some of the newer issues, but I don't read them. I've kind of collected them, but yeah, now this
simple, but everybody wanted to draw it that top panel.
Yeah. Like, a lot of energy though. Yeah, very simple, but a lot of energy. Love the effects coming off there. And I just noticed this kind of before they really, really leaned into the green. Because this became pretty much solid green every time he used his powers, but this is a lot more yellow in here.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I love the scroll, and what I like about that scroll is like it looks like the text is actually meant to be properly curved. I don't know if that was just hand done or what. But a lot of times when people are writing, like there's no art to it, it's just like lay down the text and maybe it halfway fits the perspective of a curved page, but that actually looks pretty good. So if that's Tom, Tom Warzakowski, then cheers to him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Snake Dog said Angela was one of my favorite characters of Spawn. She collected their little coin things. Angela and Spawn did get it on in her miniseries.
Oh, they got it on.
Got it on? Like got it on?
Banged.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Remember them fighting. I don't remember them fucking, though.
Now, as far as Capullo goes, I did like that miniseries. Like, I thought he did a good job in that miniseries. But the first couple Spawn issues he did, or maybe like the first year he did, I thought were not that good.
These are 2 Todd back in form pages here. Good stuff here. Even the design is working. Like, he cares. Like, yeah, just flipping through this, it's interesting because like over the last issue and a half, it's just like there's too much for me. Like, from what I remember of Todd as a god, I'm just like, he's kind of phoning. He's kind of phoning. To the point that I was feeling, just 5 minutes ago, I was like, man, his Spider-Man work was better than his Spawn work. But when he starts turning it back on, man, he's great.
Yeah, it's funny doing this series. Because when I remember these books, I remember like the stuff that stood out, right? Like the double page spreads or like the very dynamic panels. It's not until like going back and reading, looking at these with fresh eyes, I guess you could say, you can kind of see some of the stuff where they mailed stuff in. Even when we did the Dale Keown stream, seeing some things later on. But it's just funny because all I remember is the really good shit, So it's like some of these panels, like, oh yeah, like I guess that wasn't as nicely done in that one, but 30th, 50, yeah, that's where I think Greg really kind of took off, was in the 30s and 50s, and then really got into his own.
Yeah, I'm just not a big Greg fan, Capullo fan. Like Creech, I never really got into that, and his Batman stuff, it was just a lot more toned down than even when he seemed to be having something going on, at Spawn. But again, I wasn't checking that out either. I just I can't get into his art. It's fine. Maybe it's Bruce Timmey, I guess, or maybe too much Bruce Timm.
Oh, the Batman stuff now?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Todd could bring the cartoon, but he could also bring the everything is fucking cool and fun to look at, and I never really got that same kind of vibe out of Capullo.
Here's the Todd Ultimate Time Saver.
Yeah, yeah, great example. Yeah, draw an arm, and like you guys, like that's why I draw arms, like dismembered arms, like I do, like when I did that Shane cover. Yeah. Like that's just me trying to do the Todd McFarlane ripped off arm. You see how that muscle just kind of goes in towards the bone?
Yeah.
I just remember looking at almost like cauliflower or something, like I'm just like, that's a good way of doing it. So that's what I get inspired by when I'm doing dismembered body parts, and just like, you don't have to overthink how the muscle works. It just right. Put it in to it looks kind of almost like pushed in to where the bone's at, and then it looks cool. Yeah, and that's always stuck with me. So I just always, but yeah, like you said, Joe, this is right back to how does Todd get caught back up on a deadline? Well, he takes a couple arms that he probably drew on scrap paper one day, throws them together with some big lettering, and it works. But the lettering on the right side, like the chomp on the left, I think is great. Like I think as comic book, I think as comic book art that really works. On almost every level, like just graphically, the pure white against the blood and the font, like it works with that page. That page is a great piece of art from top to bottom. But on the right hand side, these sound effects, I'm not sure these really pull it off in a graphic or quality enough way to kind of justify them. I probably would have had Tom kind of rethink how he was doing these, and something would have had a little bit more design element. Something had to get figured out here, and it gets the job done, but it's not good enough. Actually, if this entire page was all white with no sound effect, no color, just the arms fly in there and that word balloon saying enough, like that might actually be 10 times more effective than what we have. And it's fine. I remember looking at it when I was a kid, and I was like, "Those are cool dismembered arms."
Right.
But the text was interesting because it was new, it was fresh, but having seen this thing 100 times over my lifetime, I'm just like, that lettering could have done. They could have done something better there.
Yeah, and that page had to take like what, an hour to draw. If you're just doing the arms, like that's hell of a time saver.
Yeah, for Todd, probably not even an hour. I mean, again, Todd is ridiculously fast. So, he could have done that 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. The Violator arm, there's nothing to that whatsoever. So all he's got to really do is lay down the shape of Spawn's arm. He doesn't have to do any, again, for time saving, just like Ethan. You get kind of that gesture down, and maybe Todd would do a little bit more volume or something, but then it's just do all the details while you're drawing it. So, 45 minutes for this page.
Yeah.
And then he's off to play golf.
And then, he ended on a pretty cool shot of Malebolgia, just showing the sheer size and opposing aspect of this character.
Yeah, well, the pose for Spawn, now we're talking. Like, now we're getting some action-y looking stuff. Like, that's fucking cool. Even Violator is like the stance on him. Like, that's good stuff. That's top Todd right there.
I'm not gonna say that I didn't rip this off, but I've got a very similar kind of pose in a panel that I did, and I didn't think about it until I just saw that now. But like, you know how being an artist, you digest all this shit for years, and then
I just rip things off.
Yeah.
But the Malbolgia again, it's kind of like it's almost flat. You know, it's like you don't really get, even though he is significantly larger, he's still drawn pretty flat to the image. And it's like, what would have happened if he would have actually done an upshot with Malbolgia instead of that kind of just straight on look, you know? So I think it just would have gave it a little bit more dramatic flair. It works. It looks cool. The scale definitely carries a lot of weight here. And look at, like, again, time saver, right? So Malbolgia is standing in a city. Well, Todd doesn't want to draw the city. So you take that smoke cloud and you just draw a lot of smoke cloud and you just get rid of everything where the city meets the ground. And then you just need, you know, a couple of proper silhouettes in there, you know, leave some squares for windows. Boom, you got a city. Done. In and out of the page.
And it all works. It's not a ripoff if you call it homage. Yep, true.
That's right.
We'll just call it ripoff.
Preach that.
Oh, that's right. That's not the end of the book. No, it's just a pop-up. Vertical panels. I like that layout. I like how they're just offset like that.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I know that John, you said that you're not a big fan of like how they pop up and down that kind of style.
Well, I would say here it would probably be it probably works, you know, because I feel like this can kind of contribute to the uneasiness of the page, I guess, or the mood, you know. So again, if every panel is nice and perfect and structured, that makes you get a sense of control and like things aren't chaotic. And then when you move into action and you make the borders a little bit more jaggedy or something like that gives you that feel of things are losing a little bit more control. But then when you start doing things, panels are up and down, it can be kind of a uneasiness in the mood. So it might be argued that there's, you know, it's a bit of practical here. It's not just Sam and Twitch having a conversation, you know,
right?
So.
Andrew Taz says definitely didn't age nearly as well as the first 10 Pit issues. I would say that Pit run is some fantastic work that stands above a lot.
I'd almost like to see the entire thing colored by Dale Keown at his peak.
That would have been shit.
But otherwise, you know, let Kyle Ritter go in there, just one solid cohesive look on the entire thing. But I'd also be interested if Kyle did end up recoloring Pit, if he would be able to maintain some of these dynamic choices and lighting that we saw in those early issues. You know, like gold up lighting where it's like there's an imaginary fire there. So you know, Kyle kind of has his thing, and I haven't seen him really go away from his thing very far. But I would be interested if he recolored Pit, if he could capture that dynamic lighting that is a little bit different from what he does. He can do dynamic lighting, don't get me wrong, but he has like kind of a mold, and he has his way of doing it. This goes like that. So to color in someone else's style or use their different color choices would be the challenge.
I completely agree. This was I really dig these two pages. I simple shot here, the Violator, but it's just so awesome. Like,
that's
something about it. Like,
that's simple, but that is good. Like, that's done well. The yelling, the drooling, the shadow work, the rendering on there, like there's volume there. So that one actually works out pretty well. And I like the last panel where he's like holding up his leg. What about my arm? What about my arm, Dad? Mom? I don't know. What is it, Malbolgia? Woman, a man? I don't know.
Who knows? I would say, who knows? Yeah. Being the devil, it could be a mixture. Who knows?
Right, yeah.
I like how that kind of fades down into some negative space with just like the white background. he goes from this kind of crazy.
What did they do on the bottom there, though? What is that? Is that like a color? What's at the bottom of the page? It just goes to blue. Like,
yeah, it looks like he's got like this kind of.
Yeah, why didn't they just leave that white?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Maybe Todd was just like, I don't want to draw the rest of his face.
Well, clearly he didn't want to draw the rest of his face because he drew a line there, you know. But if you just would have left it white, you might have still got. It might have been a strong, you know, just that negative space effect. And with that little bit of blue, I just don't understand the blue.
Yeah, I agree. The whole page is a work of art. Like it. Like it. All right. Last couple pages of this.
Mm-hmm. Another Todd. Hey, here's from my sketchbook. This is Spawn, and here's Violator for scale. But at least Violator's got some acting going on here.
Yep. Oh yeah, there's the cross. There's the.
Oh yeah,
they used in Savage Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically traced it for Savage Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Almost the entire thing. That was cool. I like that kind of crossover. They did that in Cyberforce and Wildcats, Savage Dragon and Spawn. That was cool. I dug that they did that. Made it feel like a cohesive universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crossovers can be fun for sure.
I gotta find a way to pull off doing some panels like this. Just black, prove a point, shatter some glass. Yeah, and call it
I was flipping through like Old Man Logan the other day, and I was just like, "There's like 3 pages in there, just all black." Like, you know, Steve McNiven got paid for those too.
Yeah.
So awesome. Do some panels, just make them all black.
All right, real quick, guys, because it's getting towards midnight, and we're gonna end this real quick. But I just wanted to flip through this. This was actually one of the books that came with the figure, but this was a reprinting. It's kind of like the director's cut that they released not too long ago, which is the black and white version of Spawn.
Oh yeah, I have that.
Yeah, and this comes with a little bit of a script maybe too, or just how he was. I don't know. I can't remember, but.
Yeah, but this shows how strong Todd is because I mean this could be Sin City almost. You know, the quality of the high contrast black and white going on here. Look what's going on with the stars. It looks funky. Am I crazy? Oh, okay. It was a little.
It was the camera. Yeah, it was the camera. Okay. Because I was thinking the same thing. I kept looking down. I was like, why does it look weird?
Yeah, it looked like it was like smudges.
Yeah, but yeah, this is just solid looking.
Yeah, that's real slick Frank Miller right there is what we're looking at.
Yeah, and again, we'll try to hit some of the cool dynamic pages like this again, which is very cool in black and white. Yeah, and this I don't know if this is the same director's cut that was in the stores or not, but if it is, regardless, if we get a chance to get this, he breaks down what he's thinking on a lot of these pages, so it's kind of cool to get into the mind of Todd with all this stuff. Very cool book. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
worth it.
There's the money.
Yeah, look at that.
And that's just showing everything Todd can do. All that, and all that nice hatching back there on the wall. Those little bits of black, like I put those little things in my art from time to time too, even on Shane's cover. You know, it's just you put those in there and it makes it more organic. Like when you're looking at your art and your art just looks very kind of thin, I guess. You know, you go in there and you just hit in some of these little kind of black globs, you know, especially if they're around a form like a muscle or something like that. Right. Or if you're just trying to add a little bit of texture, or, you know, like if they're in battle, you can put them anywhere. But, you know, Spawn does it, or Todd does it on Spawn. Like, you know, you can see that little black blob right in his rib cage area. It just, it gives it a little bit something extra. So everything is not thin.
Yeah.
To me, it just comes off as like an organic quality. So keep those in mind when you're always drawing thin stuff. You can do these little spot blacks and these little gobs of black to help push out things, make them a little bit more texture.
I also thought this was really cool way to do the city, because I mean you saw it when it was in color, and it was brought out pretty decently in color, but in black and white you can really kind of see how it was just basically putting the shape of the city in there to let you know where he's at, but not a lot of detail. But it works. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might be like, "Oh, it's kind of a cheat, just a bunch of lines." Like, yeah, but there's something special about it too. I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're definitely cheats, but it all depends on your ability to execute it. If you can pull a cheat off and you can still make it effective, and people say, "Wow, that looks cool," then you won. Like that's your only job, is to make people say, "Ooh, that looks fucking cool." But also, like, it's great because how thin those speed lines are, and then we get these big, thick black borders on those panels there, and they just really raise up above everything. That's really great stuff. And again, the use of blacks and just building these forms and volume up on that girl, the spot blacks on there, and the little gobs of black as well. Big fan of all that stuff. Just it feels like you're there, and I get the same kind of feeling that I get from Todd that I also get at times from Will Spertasio. Like just really great at handling their blacks. They can just really get their blacks in line. Can I say that?
Just did.
I just did. Yeah.
It adds to the motion of Spawn dropping down. Yeah, it does. Yep, absolutely no. The rule of cool.
That's right. Yeah, rule.
Hell yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Good on, Joe.
Fucking is kicking ass at the end of the day.
Todd work is pure fun to look at. Yeah, absolutely. Wolfpack. All right, let's see. Oh. What were some more cool pages of the black and white? Get the nose in there. You guys see the nose.
The shattered panel.
This was really cool, black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Todd's use of blacks were always really cool. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Texture wise.
You got to have a little mignola in your artistic diet. You have to have a healthy amount of Frank Miller. And I think Frank Miller brought to its fullest is Jim Lee's Death Blow. I think Jim really kind of mastered the Frank Miller style. And then you throw that on top of whatever your style would be. And I think you're going to have a hit.
Yeah, here we go. The silhouette or the different outlines of the cities. Again, just outline, but the colors brought it out real nice and added some really nice depth to it. So it's very simple way to get it through it, but the colors really brought it together and saved it. And it's, So anything black and white, I like to try to get my hands on. But this was a really fun book. I'm glad that he reprinted it with the toys, the action figure, and the Kickstarter he did.
And that page, again, it's simple, but also there's the time to conceptualize it, to figure out how to do it. It's one thing when you say, that thing just took 5 hours to draw. It might have took 5 hours to draw, but it might have took another hour or two to really kind of think about what you wanted to do to turn that from just a standard page into something very cool. So, don't underestimate your actual time to plan out your page. Like I'll do a thumbnail a lot. And then I'll say, okay, I got what I need, to tell this story in 4 or 5 panels. But now how do I turn these same 4 or 5 panels into something really fucking cool? And then you have to start deciding on, okay, which is kind of your one shot that you really want to put the emphasis on. So you want to blow that up. So you want to have big, small, or medium, big, small, medium, big, small, medium type paneling. And then if you wanted to get into where you start breaking panels, that's another process. Then I don't know what his process was with the lettering for the ha 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 here, if he did it himself or if
I feel like he probably did.
Yeah.
I know he did some lettering when it came to stuff like right on the board. So I feel like he probably did.
Yeah. So that's very possible that he went in there and did the ha ha right on the page. But if not, it would have been more difficult back then. But now, when we go through lettering, I sit in with Eric, so that might have taken some extra direction. Be like, hey, let's break out the panels here, let's wrap the text around, and but to have someone that if Tom Orzechowski actually put it in those ha-has, for him to do it at that level and to really break the panels and have Todd know that Todd is going to be cool with every decision being made here. That's a bit unlikely, but if he did it, then kudos to Tom Orzechowski. for pulling off great lettering. And that's another thing with a Todd book is like, I feel like with a Todd book, the lettering matters, you know, for the most part. It's not always a home run, but the lettering matters much more than it does in, say, like a Wildcats book, where it's just like a pew, you know, it's just like, it's there just for the blaster fire. It's not kind of, I don't know, what you might think of maybe a little Eisner-esque, where the text matters more. It's there as like to accent, you know, the artwork. Just to contribute to the artwork, to be a part of it, you know, in a larger way than just to convey a sound.
And then we'll end it on one of the original ads for Spawn. Image and Malibu Comics coming in 1992.
Surprised Malibu got a thing in there, but yeah,
right in the beginning they got their name out there, and that was quickly shunned away.
Yeah, well, the whole Malibu, for anyone that may not know, the whole Malibu thing was when these guys left Marvel, they didn't know anything about publishing. There was a small company out there called Malibu, and I don't know if Rob had a friend there, an acquaintance there, associate there, somebody, and basically it was like Malibu was like, yeah, we can help publish you guys and get you guys started.
Here's the sketch of it.
And that's what they did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that before.
Look how crude that is.
Yeah, really crude. All his notes, just the basics. And either he just goes straight to the board or lightbox that, but I don't think he would really need to lightbox that if he knows this generic of a pose for Todd to add his shit to.
He may not need to, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, might not have.
I would. I lightbox the fuck out of it. So, yeah, like that's just it, man. Like when I'm drawing, like I'm much more from the Rob Life old school. I'd rather, if I was doing it traditional, I would definitely be drawing it smaller on a small piece than blowing it up. Because when you draw small, you have more control. I feel you have more control over the image, especially if you end up drawing on like a lap board. Like when you're drawing on a full board and it's in an incline, you may be able to get it to where it's in a bit more of a natural kind of straight onto you. But like for me, I just felt like I was drawing on a skew. You know, so like when I do draw, like even with my tablet, you know, it's on my lap. So that's a good thing about drawing digital, though, is that you can draw everything as small as you want, and then you just zoom in, and now it's like, hey, it's all big, it's all right there. So, and then just build the page out from there. So,
all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another Appreciating Comic Book Art Live. This is so fun every time we do this. I always appreciate John coming because he's got such great insight when it comes to a lot of this stuff, the art, the colors, the letters, everything.
Just the guys I like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I definitely need to sit on one of these and be schooled on maybe, like Frege, talks about, these old school guys. And it's just like, I'm aware of them, but I've never done like deep dives into their art, so, that would be a treat on some level for me, down the road.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Frege on the show one of these days when he's not as busy. We'll see. We're going to work it out at some point, for sure. But before we get out of here, I just want to remind everybody I have an Ashcan for my Character Reaper Destroyer. The book is coming out in April. I'm launching it in April, but I have an Ashcan out right now. It's available. If anybody is interested in it, you can slide up into my DMs. It's $20 shipped for the Ashcan.
In the States?
In the States, yeah, I've had a couple orders from overseas that are pretty steep. So that's, if somebody absolutely wants it, I will try to figure out, we'll work something out. But yeah, 20 shipped in the States. DM me, PayPal. I'm going to try to get it out by Christmas. And it's just basically the ultimate preview book for the book coming out in April. It's got the first 6 pages, black and white, scripted with some really, really awesome inks by Joe Weems and Matt Banning in the book as well.
Legends.
Yeah, absolute legends. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with these guys. I'm nothing but honored every time I get to see my work come back by them. And a lot of character sketches, bios, some in-depth look at the mythos and the stories of the book. Everything you're going to need to know to get ready for the book in April. It's going to be a true collectible, never printed again. This is going to be the only time you're going to see it. So once it's done, it's done. And I'm moving on. But I just want to let everybody know I still got that out there. So
and you have a sketch thing you're doing, right?
If you want a head sketch, it's just an extra $10, and I'll throw it in there. So if I've had a couple people request it, I'll put it in there. I don't want to be like Sean though and add it into everything and have to draw like.
I'm like, you get a sketch, you get a free card. Oh, you want an autograph? No. Now I know what's workable. But
yeah. So that's my character. That's my book. It's coming out in April. Got the Ashcan available right now. If you want it, slide up in my DMs. Mm-hmm. Let me know, and we will work it out. Sean, what do you got going on before we get out of here?
My mailing list starts Friday, October 29th. So we're going to be getting into that. Working on pages, penciling. I'm loving this fucking Cintiq. I love that I could draw here. I can draw on the shitter with my iPad. I'm mobile. I'm global, baby. And that's what I'm trying to do to get type 1 to you. Oh, that was great. That was good, man.
Yeah, we'll clip that.
Hell yeah. Having great fun. We just celebrated our 100th anniversary of Art and Stuff-ish episode.
100th anniversary? 100. You guys are old.
Episode.
Yo, we love to celebrate. We just love having fun. So just good times on my end, brother. It's good times on my end.
What's going on with you next, John?
Well, the rest of the year, I think I'm going to wrap fulfillment for Graveyard Shift, the variant campaign. We're doing that right now. And hopefully we'll have that done in about 4 weeks. That's kind of my goal. And then, God, I hope I can draw. So, that's all I really want to do is get into drawing, because next year is loaded. I got Graveyard Shift Volume 4. I'm planning for January or February. Fingers crossed. Wow. And then possibly launching 5 and 6 together come summertime, and then launching Godlike 2 after we fulfill Godlike 1. So that'll probably be October-ish. So it's just a jam-packed year for me next year. Trying to get a lot of people to work and spinning a lot more plates even, but hopefully I got some more trusted hands behind me.
That's exciting.
So it should be a massive year, and a lot of product, a lot of good books coming out, and we'll see. So, but yeah, the rest of this year, I just really want to be digging in and getting a head start on next year. Sorry. So no, it's not that. It's just really I'm at the point where I just need to hire an editor to take on some of that burden, so because I really want to be sure that we're putting out the absolute best books, and to do that, that's why I've also been talking about next year, if our first 2 Graveyard Shift campaigns are doing about 250, that's kind of my goal for those, maintaining that 250 range. Then what I'm going to do is right after we do the summer campaign, be that just volume 5 or volume 5 and 6 together, I'm going to do a retreat, and I'm going to invite some of the writers that I know out this way, or maybe we'll go somewhere mid-country. I don't know, just spend a week and just start diving into ideas or something. Maybe not a week, maybe a few days.
Trip on shores, find yourself, find what the story's about.
Well, yeah, but kind of just like with Marvel, like really sit down and make sure that when we do our next 6 volumes of Graveyard Shift, I want to be sure that we put in everything that we can in terms of interesting story and make it the absolute best, and to have an editor on there as a guiding hand, and with all these potentially different writers throwing in their input as well. And then we kind of craft the story through that, use that as like the guidepost for the next 6 volumes, including supplemental books and whatnot, because we really want all the supplemental now to just start tying right back into what's going on. So a lot of work, and it'll just make it a little bit easier on me. And also with fulfillment, just looking to try and make next year a little bit smoother on that. So,
there you go.
Yeah, no, it's hard to find an editor because look, almost anyone can proofread, and a lot of people want wannabe writers, and they have an ability to help craft a story. But I'm coming from an artist point of view, so that's why it's a little bit harder for me to find someone that I really want to bring on for an editor, because I want someone that understands pencils, inks, coloring, and lettering, onto a level that I feel like I understand it at least, you know. And that's hard. You got to find someone that's passionate about lettering. So, you know, it's like, so that's the unicorn. I don't just necessarily want to bring in someone that's just going to make money and while this stuff is kind of running on autopilot, you know. So I need someone that's going to be as in deep as I am right now to take over some of that burden. Otherwise I'm just paying someone to hang out. So and I can do it, you know, if I have to. So
I can play with myself all the time.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been a blast as always. Thank you to the chat. Hell, the chat. You guys are great. Don't forget to kill a don't forget to kill a character in Godlike. Okay, there you go.
Don't worry. Yeah, I think that'll happen.
All right. Next Friday over on the Otten Stuff channel, we got Pete Samedi coming on. We're gonna rock out with that. And until then, keep an eye out. I don't know when the next time we'll do another Appreciating Comic Book Art live series, whenever we get a chance, and whatever artists I might pick next. So keep an eye out. Sub this channel if you like it. Until then, we will talk to you all. Take care. As always, picture me naked. See y'all later. Peace.